Hello guys, welcome to this video. And yeah, so it has been a long time since I uploaded a video to my YouTube channel because I was busy with college examinations and other stuff. But so anyway, in this video I want to let me be very honest from the very beginning. There is nothing specific, I like not any particular topic of importance I want to discuss in this video. It's not like my other videos on say some particular topic in physics or something like that. So yeah, in that sense this video is probably not going to be that important or that interesting. But yeah, it might still be interesting and even important for some of you. So in this video basically I want to discuss a question, not just a question. I want to talk about my philosophy of living life, you can say, in very like I have made similar videos, similar rants, to use a more accurate word, even previously on my YouTube channel. And yeah, so a lot of people around me, I mean not everyone around me, but a few people who are close to me, they always ask me, like I share my philosophy with them, not always, because see I try not to project myself too much, too outward. I just try to keep it to myself, because anyway I don't. And people have a tendency to, if you try to share your perspectives, people have a tendency to misjudge your intentions, and they always have a habit of drawing out a picture as if you're trying to share, like to use the term, you're trying to like show off on that kind of stuff. But you see, the reality is that whenever I try to share something, like a lot of the stuff I say about, even about physics, about say simulation theory, about nihilism, about some other topics, even beyond science. Some of the things I understand are definitely not mainstream ideas, some of them even controversial ideas. But my intention, whenever I say write about these topics or share about these topics, maybe I share it in a YouTube community post, or I make a YouTube video about it, or maybe I share a WhatsApp status about it. Of course, not all of you can see my WhatsApp statuses, but yeah, that's another thing. Now, my intention is to inspire curiosity, and and spark healthy debate and healthy discussion on the topic. My intention is not to impose my views on anyone, or that kind of thing. Because you see, the topics which I'm referring to, nobody knows the answers. Those are fundamental topics, deep topics. It's not like you can get the answer on Google, or it's just a matter of subjective opinion. It's not that kind of, not really that kind of thing. It's the reason I say it's not a matter of subjective opinion is that these topics are not, I mean, they demand some level of objectivity, even though we do not know the answer to them yet, or even though it is as of now out of reach of science. But yeah, anyway, so far whatever I said in this video is kind of, I understand it's kind of a bit not very coherent. Anyway, so in this video, first of all, as I already told you, in this video I will be discussing about my philosophy of life, and that is, of course, when I say philosophy of life, that's a very broad term. All of us have philosophy, have our own way of living life, have our own philosophy of life, and in some sense, we all of us are seekers of. I won't say seekers of truth. Some of us are seekers of truth, but not all of us are seekers of truth. But yeah, all of us are seekers of meaning. We want to know why we're here. We want to search for meaning in our life. Maybe that does not mean searching meaning is not always consciously seeking out meaning, or consciously like searching, like asking what's the meaning of my life. But unconsciously, that's what we're all doing. Life is our quest to find meaning in an inherently meaningless world. That's what I believe anyway. The world is inherently meaningless. But yeah, so basically, yeah. Now, recently I released a song. I don't know how many of you, some of you may not know, but yeah, I have a second YouTube channel called Arpan Amplified, and I compose, I produce original music and write lyrics and collaborate with singers, vocalists on some songs, original songs. You can check out my channel. It's linked in this channel itself, or maybe I'll also share the link in the description of this video, if I remember after I upload the video to YouTube. But yeah, so the last song I released was it was called Forever Alone, and after listening to the song, and then the previous song I released prior to that was called Letter to the Simulator, and that was a unique theme because here by simulator I'm talking about someone who is simulating the reality. I mean, first of all, I have assumed in the song, of course, I have assumed that we are living in a simulation and someone is simulating the reality in a way as to make things difficult for me, make my life difficult and throw challenges down my path. And by simulator, I refer to that individual. You can think of that as God or devil or whatever, but I don't prefer that term. So and that's a unique. The song is basically my challenge. The singer's challenge to the simulator. That's why it's called letter to the simulator. That you have made things difficult for me. You have broken my faith in humanity. You have wiped off the smile off my face, but you have still not been able to stop me. And yeah, it's kind of coming to terms with the harsh realities of life and accepting and finding some like joy and some kind of consolation in the challenges and in overcoming challenges, to put it that way. And the song I released previous to Letter to the Simulator was called Goodbye World, and that was, I understand, a very depressed, like the lyrics were, I mean, pretty dark. And no, of course, Goodbye World was actually not a song about physically, literally saying goodbye to the world. I mean, like dying, not that. Though most of my listeners, that is the impression they have. I mean, apparently that's what it seems like. But no, Goodbye World is not physically leaving the world and saying goodbye. It's about actually what I had in mind when I wrote the lyrics. Although the opening verses are a bit dark, but if you see after the chorus, if you see near the end of the song, the bridges and even the end part, the concluding verse and everything, it's about there is a touch of optimism in the song, in the lyrics. It's about like the singer is kind of fed up with the present world and he is not finding peace in the world, and that's why he wants to isolate himself from the world and search for a better world. Or maybe you can interpret it in any way you like. Maybe search for a better world in his head, or maybe create a better world, or maybe it does not really mean physically leaving the world. That's the point. But mentally getting detached from the world, from this physical world around us. And the last song I released, their most recent, as I told you, it's called Forever Alone. And a lot of people who listen to the song, they found the song, I mean, some of them at least, because of course, not all of the people who listen to the song, I do not communicate with all of them. The ones I know, maybe some of them share their opinions with me. So some of them were under the impression that they found the song to be a little depressing and like themes of loneliness and depression. Again, that is not what I had in mind when I wrote the lyrics. And in case of Forever Alone, I think there should be no confusion, because it's clearly a message of, it's clearly an empowering song, and it conveys this theme of finding peace, finding peace in remaining forever alone, and the benefits of remaining forever alone, and loving yourself, that kind of thing. Goodbye World, I understand the lyrics are pretty dark, so no matter what I had in mind, some people will inevitably find it to be depressing, and maybe even like they interpret it as like saying physically goodbye to the world. But I don't understand why. But Forever Alone, in that sense, it's a pretty motivating and I would say even optimistic song. Although if you listen to the song, if you look at the lyrics, of course just the title may sound a bit depressing, Forever Alone. Now, what is my philosophy behind remaining forever alone? This Forever Alone, it's not just I just wrote the lyrics so that it would sound good in the song. No, I actually follow whatever I wrote in Forever Alone. I actually believe in each and every line, each and every word. I cannot say this for all of my songs, of course, but for Forever Alone, each and every word, I do believe in that. And that is my philosophy of life. Forever, in the entire song, Forever Alone, that is my entire philosophy of life. I have kind of written in the form of a song, Forever Alone. Okay, so I'll give the link of this song definitely in the description of this video, Forever Alone. Now, so a lot of people are under the impression that no, humans are social creatures and we are in need of companions and that kind of thing. We cannot be happy alone. I would like to disagree, because I am happy alone. That's the number one thing, because you cannot deny this. Of course, you can say that I'm faking it, or I'm just turning on my camera and saying all this stuff on YouTube, but inwardly I'm sad and that kind of thing. If you're under that impression, I have no way to disprove you. Even I won't even bother to try and disprove you. But I mean, if you want to listen to me, if you have listened to the video so far, you have got to take my word for it. And the reason is I want to share with you mainly, even beyond my philosophy, but I want to share with you why I stopped caring about humans, and not only about humans in general, about emotions and about long term about anything that is not objective, anything that is subjective. That is the main point of this video. And it's just see, in many of my previous videos and interviews and podcasts and writings, blogs and all, I have shared parts of my story, why I how and why I got interested in physics, the challenges I faced, and this and that. But this the aspect of my story I'll be sharing in this video now today, it's kind of I have not talked about this before. And of course that is because I myself came to this realization only recently. That's the reason. It's not like that's the reason I realized this only recently. So why I stopped caring about humans, and why I really like to stay forever alone. So in the song Forever Alone, the opening verse is like, I couldn't ignite a single spark, so I dance with shadows in the dark. I stopped trying to make my mark, I am carving out my lonely arc. So it's like I couldn't ignite a single spark does not mean I consider myself to be a failure. It only means that I am not successful by the standards set by the external world or the society. If you judge me by the standards set by the society, then of course I couldn't ignite a single spark. By that standard, according to that standard, I am somewhat of a failure. But that's the reason. But so I dance with shadows in the dark. I mean, this line again might sound like a kind of a dark or depressing theme. Like, I dance with shadows in the dark means I am depressed. But no, actually this means I am finding myself in myself. I am kind of in the dark means separating myself or isolating myself from the world and like being at peace with myself. Like I am coming to terms with myself, and in the sense that the only validation I need to determine whether I am successful in life or not is my own validation. That's what I mean when I say I dance with shadows in the dark. Because in the dark, see, I mean, of course, I'm not a poet or anything, so let's not go into the literary, all those lyrics interpretations. And that's not the point of this video anyway. The point of this video is to let you know the way I see this topic of, my philosophy of living life, whether we should live it alone or not. But of course, and since I recently released the song, and since the lyrics of the songs kind of outline my entire story, that's why I'm bringing up this topic of these songs. But of course, the main point of this video is not to interpret the lyrics of the song, of course. So yeah, let's keep that in mind as well. Just give me a second. Yeah. So like I was saying, the first and the most important thing is that this is a very good analogy I would like to use. In physics, we learned that I mean, it's an assumption in classical physics, Newtonian physics, that a point particle, cannot exert a force on itself, right? When you study a point particle, it cannot exert a force on itself. We can only calculate the force on this point particle due to other point particles, due to other charges or other bodies with some masses. But a body cannot exert a force on itself. Not just point, even a body. We do not usually consider a body, even an extended body, to exert a force on itself, net force on itself. But I think this philosophy, or this assumption, although it may be a very valid assumption when doing classical physics, this assumption is not true in life. If you consider yourself to be a particle, then it's totally possible that you can exert a force on yourself. I mean, of course, it's possible. It's not anything new. Now, of course, that could be a positive force, or that could also be a negative force, of course. But the reason I'm saying is that my story, or I would say my transition from high school, or from yeah, it's actually from way before, years before. It's actually from middle school, I would say. Throughout all these years, I have gone through a lot of suffering. But let me be very honest with you. I have received the support of my parents, which is a big thing. A lot of people of my age, lot of students or whatever, they don't receive the support of their parents. Even though they might have a very active social life, they might have a lot of friends in school. I never had a lot of friends in school. Even like I was not very popular with my peers initially, and in that sense, my life was not very happy from that aspect. But I do not deny. See, I don't want to like kind of narrate a struggle story in front of you. I'm just telling whatever is real, and I admit that I grew up pretty well off. I would say even privileged than most people out there. I wouldn't like to play the victim and say that I had a very rough childhood or anything. Of course, it was there. I had to go through some little bit of difficult phases, struggles and all. But I think that's a normal part of life. That's nothing extraordinarily difficult. I mean, most of the people, even of my age, most of the people go through that. So I'm not claiming that I had a very rough childhood or a very troubled childhood, or I had to struggle a lot. But still, my story is a bit unusual, and I think I learned a lot from that. And I think Throughout these years, these experiences shaped me to such a point that today I have been able to, exert that force on myself. Like I was saying, a particle cannot exert a force on itself. Today I've been able to achieve a much higher level of self-control, not 100% of course, but a much higher level of self-control than previously. And people often have this misconception like self-control means you have to maybe like anxiety control measures, meditation, or anger control measures, and you have to consciously give some effort. No, actually self-control is seldom achieved by conscious effort, in my opinion, by consciously trying to achieve self-control. Rather, if you try to, in this case, at least in my experience of course, if you try to remove the influence of your surroundings on yourself, then automatically you will achieve self-control. Like there are two approaches. You want to achieve self-control, so number one is you're just doing nothing about how the surroundings affect you, but you're consciously trying to control yourself, trying to remain in control. That doesn't really work on the long run. You see, you're trying meditation, you are trying this, you are trying this technique, you're trying that technique, but you are not doing anything about the external world. You are listening to what people say, you care about what other people think, and then that's not going to help you. And on the other hand, if someone is not like myself, I followed the second approach, which I'm going to say now. If someone is not bothered about any kind of meditation or any kind of that kind of treatment or any kind of stuff, but he's trying to stop caring about the external world, he's trying to reduce the amount of control the external world has on him, then indirectly he's actually increasing his self-control, and I found this way to be way more effective. So let me share very briefly my story. From high school, although I received the support of my parents very much, and even some of my teachers and relatives, but I didn't I was I don't know why I was kind of always the odd one out, and I was kind of always sorted out or left out, even from the very beginning. Of course, could be because I found it difficult to mix with I was not an extrovert, I was an introvert, and I found it difficult to make new friends and stuff. But I think that's true for most of us when we just enter school. I mean, we don't, except the few ones who are very extrovert from the very beginning. But yeah, after some years, after some classes, automatically some groups form, some friend groups form. But I never found myself to be a part of any serious group. Of course, I had friends. I mean, people talked with me, laughed with me, chatted with me, but that was just at a superficial level. I didn't have a real friends. The people who talked to me, they were all parts of separate groups, but I was not part of one dedicated friend group. I was just by myself alone, and just occasionally interacted with random people in my class. That was my story in high school. And let me admit, whatever I may say now, let me admit that initially it was difficult, because it's a very nature of humans, by our evolutionary instincts, we always want to get accepted to society, because probably it has something to do with our survival instinct or something. Because if the people around you appreciate you, then that means inwardly you feel like, okay, I am valued, I'm appreciated, and that might, I don't know exactly, but that might add value to your life, add meaning to your life, and that might even make unconsciously make you feel more secure about your existence. And that unconscious sense of security is what we want when we want to get accepted by our peers or by our society. And during the high school years, of course, all of us, we are very immature, and we don't have the maturity or the thought. I mean, this kind of thought didn't come to me back in high school, that this is just an evolutionary instinct. That time I wanted people to accept me, and I felt sad when because I had no real friends. And I was always for instance, in the school events or something, I was always left out alone. I don't know why. So initially I tried, say up to my 7th standard or 8th standard, I tried to fit in. I tried to fit in the crowd. When I said try to fit in the crowd, I didn't usually I didn't keep up to date with all these modern trends and all that was that was very popular among my school friends back then. But I tried to update myself about the trends and all, and I tried to crack jokes about the trending topics and also just so that people would accept me, my friends would accept me and all, up to a certain point. But then of course that didn't work out. Now, from my 9th standard, that is when this change came over me, or that is when the change began. It didn't come over me overnight, of course. And then I realized that is the whole theme of this song as well, Forever Alone. Then I realized that sometimes we should stop trying to fit in, and instead we should take pride in standing out. standing out from the crowd is difficult, and it commands respect. And in my opinion, although it's difficult and it's not very enjoyable, but I think there is a different kind of what to say, like satisfaction. There's a different kind of like different kind of feeling, which is not really a negative feeling in my experience. So what I did was that there is a very famous saying by Confucius. He said that every man has two lives. Uh, the second one starts when he realizes that he has only one. So basically, the point of this famous saying or this famous quote is that we all actually have a finite amount of time on this planet, and we should like initially we think like we have a long time in in a long life, 80 years, 90 years. That sounds like a very long time, right? So let's just waste our times. Like I wasted my time trying to fit in. Now I realize that was a complete waste of time. Many of us waste our times doing things that are not really significant. Many of us waste our times crying because our parents didn't, our parents misbehaved, or our relatives misbehaved, or our friends misbehaved. But that's the reason I stopped caring about humans, because all of this is subjective. You cannot control how the people around you will behave with you, be it your parents or your friends or your enemy, whatever. So why should you set store by what they think of you or what they say to you? I mean, why should you give so much importance to emotions? Because then I realized like, okay, I actually don't have two lives. I actually have one life, and my second life kind of started. I mean, the first life was when I didn't realize all of this and I was just wasted time. But my second life kind of started from my ninth standard, when I realized that no, I have to do something meaningful in life. And when I say something meaningful, of course you can say that I have a lot of friends and my friends give meaning to my life. That's meaningful to me. Well, of course that can be true for you. If you are happy with friends, if you find meaning in life just by your from your friends, or from the company of your friends, that's okay. But you cannot deny that all of this is subjective. Maybe your friends are actually good friends, genuine friends, and they will never betray you and this and that. But all of you, but I mean, it's all subjective. Number one, and number two, it's transient. Because practically speaking, with in the course of life, you and your friends will be separated. It's very unlikely, very rare that all your group of friends will remain together. I mean, somebody will go into different streams, and etc. will be separated. Then after a certain point, when your friends will start having a family, then other issues might will crop up inevitably. And then in the end, there are bound to be at least some of your friends who will no longer remain friends till the end of your life. And at the end of your life, you will not really agree anymore that those friends were the ultimate meaning of your life, because there is no record, and there is no achievement. That's no credit. I mean, if you die, people will not remember you for having two or three friends. Let's be frank. But if you do something like, if you make some original discovery in science, or if you make some contribution, if you get a Nobel Prize, or not even a Nobel Prize, if you just do some discovery even at a smaller scale, that is something, that is an objective achievement. Nobody can deny that. Right, that nobody can deny that even after your death. So when I realized that no, actually I have only one life, and that is when my second life started. And when I say my second life started from the ninth standard, whatever I did was nothing much. I really it was difficult initially. I had to give conscious effort to isolate myself from people, and to not care about what they think or what they say. But now it has become a kind of a habit. I don't need to anyway consciously give effort. And in the middle, sometimes I used to consciously isolate myself, like maybe switch off my phone and not talk to people for 1 day or 2 days. But now I don't. Now I have grown out of that phase, because that means I was not fully happy with myself. If you have to consciously let people know that, see, I have turned off my phone. See, I don't like you. See, I don't care. But if you're consciously letting people know this, that means you actually do care. That means you care very much, and you are still not happy with yourself, with your own company. But now I talk to people as and when required. I work with a lot of people. I'm involved in a lot of organizations inside and beyond my college, and I do all my job pretty smoothly. And I talk to people, help people, and I don't turn off my phone unnecessarily. Everything. And and people, some people even think that I have become a bit more extrovert, or at least I have become less introvert. But the reason is that now I have truly accepted myself. I truly accepted that I will be happy alone. And once I've accepted this now, that's why I don't feel the need to consciously let people know that I am isolating myself. I'm actually isolating myself, because although I talk to people, with my friends, I mean, I don't have any friends, but with my classmates in college and all, with my college mates and all, I talk with them, I even crack jokes with them, and they think I have grown less introvert or more extrovert. But the reality is that I don't set any store by what they say or what they think or by all those jokes and all. I am not at all attached, not even 1% attached to any of them. And since I'm not attached, I don't at all care what they say, and that's why I don't need to feel the need to consciously, you know, let them know that I don't like their company or I would like to stay alone. Of course, the best I did is release this song, but again, this Goodbye World, the song Goodbye World, I admit it was kind of, I wrote that song to vent out my feelings because during that point of time I was going through a difficult phase in life. And again, not anything like cinematic or very difficult or dramatic, just I was just a bit depressed about homesickness because that time I was in Ahmedabad for a research fellowship and I was staying away from my parents all by myself for a long period of time, and I grew a bit homesick, and I feel I grew a bit, I became a bit overwhelmed when I thought about the future. Like after this, where will I go without my parents, my MSc, PhD, and then when will I ever be able to settle with my parents again? And all those thoughts came to me, and that's why I was a bit emotionally unstable. That's all. It's not nothing dramatic or nothing. I mean, it's nothing like worth a scene or anything. Okay, it's not nothing that. But yeah, since I was a bit emotionally unstable and a bit depressed maybe in that point of time, I wrote the song Goodbye World to vent out my feelings. But the same cannot be said about Forever Alone. Forever Alone, I wrote this just to let people know about my philosophy, and it's because I believe in every line I wrote. In case of Forever Alone, I already told you, right? So the most important thing, maybe the most important sentence of this video, the one I'm gonna say now, is that the main realization is that initially I used to think, why don't people love me? Why don't people accept me as a friend? Now I have just rephrased the question. Suppose you have a sentence, why don't people love me? And suppose I give you the condition, love is equal to pity. I will prove this later, just now. But for now you assume love is equal to pity. So then why don't people love me becomes, why don't people pity me? But this simple transformation actually works wonders. When you say, why don't people love me, you are filled with a sense of depression and like, people don't love me, people don't want me, maybe I'm useless and that kind of thing. But when you say, why don't people pity me, you're like, oh, people don't pity me, that means I am better than them, I am doing better than them, I am more successful than them, I am above them, that's why they're jealous of me. They don't feel the need to pity me, I don't need their pity, I am successful alone, I am independent, I am happy alone. I'm not dependent on them or their pity or their sympathy. This is the change in thought. Just by like in mathematics we do, like we introduce a change in variable. Suppose we have a very complicated integration and we just introduce a change in variable to make the calculating the integral easier. Nothing changes actually, it's the same integral we are evaluating, we just introduce a change in variable. Here also it's kind of, we are introducing a change in variable, love equals to pt. That's all, nothing else. So now, because now the reason I say love is equal to pity is that it's actually a lot of your brain regions which process this emotion called love. By love, I am not only talking about romantic love. It could be love among friends, love with other human beings, with your friends, or even romantic love. All love in general, love or compassion or whatever you say. It's actually very closely related to pity because there is a good overlap between the brain regions that process the emotion of love and the brain regions that process the emotion of pity. Of course, the human brain is pretty complex. You cannot really assign a particular emotion to a particular region, but you can more or less say that these kind of emotions are governed by these kind of regions. I'm not talking about a specific point or specific region, of course, but yeah. So in that case, and now again, I've told this again. I guess I've told. I don't exactly remember, but I think I told this again in one of my previous videos. The reason we humans set so much store by love, but now by love I mainly refer to romantic love, is because of evolution. Because we are the slaves of Darwin's natural selection and evolution. We are programmed to think that way, that we need to find a partner, we need to keep the human species going. And that's why our brains, we have this instincts of, kind of easily falling in love, but at the end of the day, it's just some chemical reactions in the brain, and it only makes you weak, it only makes you vulnerable, and most importantly, it makes you dependent on someone else. You're surrendering part of your control, you are giving a part of your control to someone else. That's not good, right? For yourself. I mean, of course, now this is why I say, because people will only love you as long as you are not doing as good as them and they don't see you as a threat. The moment someone will see you as a threat, they will no longer love you and they will no longer pity you. I told they are kind of interchangeable, love and pity, the words love and pity. From my ninth standard, when I stopped caring about all this, from then I really focused on like, okay, I have to do something in life, because I have, like Confucius said, we all have two lives, and we realized the second life starts when we realize we have only one. Then I realized that okay, I have only one life and I have to do something significant, and by significant I mean something objective, not something subjective. So it's very difficult to. Today there are a lot of social media debates and all going on. Who is right? Who is wrong? What is right? What is wrong? But in my experience, I have realized that after a certain point, it becomes very difficult, and it becomes really difficult to determine like who is right and who is wrong in situations like this, because it's really subjective. And I think it's best to stop caring about at all. I mean, of course, if someone kills someone, then of course that is not right. Suppose someone commits murder and you are like, okay, I don't care who is right and who is wrong. No, that's not the thing. That's objectively a crime. But there are small subjective issues which spark intense debate, like he was right or no, she was right, and that kind of thing. It's like, in my opinion, it's just a waste of time and energy, because it's no point thinking about that at all. Because whenever there is some element of subjectivity means that is subject to change. Suppose your perception changes after 2 months, and suppose right now you look at the situation and you feel like he's wrong or he's right. After 2 months, if your perspective slightly changes, or maybe you come to know of something you didn't know back then after 2 months your perspective may change entirely, or at least even slightly. You may start thinking that okay, he was not entirely wrong or he was not entirely right, and that kind of thing. But that is not really objectivity, right? That is what I mean by subjectivity. So it's no good or no point wasting your time and energy thinking about that kind of thing. It's a much better idea to channel your time and energy into something objective. Like for instance, I have chosen mathematics and physics. They are again, physics is not objective in the sense that there are a lot of unanswered questions in physics, and some of the things we already know in physics, some of them are not final. Like maybe future theories will modify some of them. So in that sense, physics is not objective, but at least physics is reproducible. I mean, physics. Suppose if you maintain a system, a physical system in the same external conditions, in principle, say in theoretically you do, then you will get the same outcome if you carry out this similar experiment, and that's the point of science. That's the beauty of science. Experiments are reproducible. You get the same outcome if you carry out the same experiment. There is a pattern. There is a periodicity in the way the universe works, the physical universe works. But the same cannot be said for humans. Again, maybe of course, our brains, the way we behave, the way we think, everything is technically fundamentally governed by the laws of physics. But since we have not yet achieved that level of understanding, at our level, humans are unpredictable. You suppose if you subject a human to the same conditions and you get some outcome now, and if you subject the same human to the same conditions, but say after 2 days, you cannot guarantee that you will get the same outcomes, because it's a human after all, right? So you can and it's very difficult to, within these 2 days, a lot kind of happened. The human could have interacted with some other human, that and a lot of things. Even a physical system, if you can interact with its surroundings, but those interactions, there are very well defined laws of physics which govern those interactions, but we don't know such laws of human interactions yet. Not any objective laws yet. There are theories, there are propositions and all. Many interesting fields as well, social physics and all. But yeah, those are all like not any objective laws, or not laws. These laws are of course cannot be said to be established laws on the same footing as the laws of fundamental physics or something like that, right? So that's one important point. And the main change came over when I replaced love with pity. That's very important point. That's one of the reasons I'm making this video. Of course, I'm telling my story in a bit elaborate way. That's why it's taking a bit of time. It's already over 30 minutes long. This video, as far as I can see in my screen recorder, it's 34 minutes. But anyway, so so yeah, from my ninth standard, then I started. I chose physics because like I said, I realized I have to do something good, something objective in life, and I chose physics because. Now, why physics? That was kind of because I liked physics at that point, and I found physics to be fundamental. Unlike the other sciences, I found physics to be fundamental, and maybe if some science can give me the answer to the ultimate question of the universe, then that's most likely physics, and not something like say microbiology, for instance. That's the reason I chose physics, nothing more. But the driving philosophy behind me was not because I started loving physics. I found that my passion is physics. I have to do physics or else I will die. Physics is for me. No, it was not like all of a sudden. Physics is just physics, but I chose more, even more important than the fact that I chose physics is the way I approached physics. A lot of people choose physics, but the way I approach physics is I chose physics means not like I started preparing for the competitive examinations and to target a good physics institution in my country and all. It's not the conventional path that people who choose physics follow usually. I published a book, popular science book on physics when I was in class. I mean, I started writing the book from my ninth standard itself, from just between my ninth and tenth standard. I published the book in class when I was in my class 11th or 12th, that kind of like uh, during that period of time, which is I was like I think 17 years or 16 years when I during the time the book was my first book. It was a popular science book on physics, and today I've also released an updated edition of the book, which is 390 pages long, one version, and there's another version in a different size. It's 360 pages long. Anyway, because so see that is what I mean by objectivity. Uh, the book Our Physics So Far is written by Arpan. You can just check it on the Google. Nobody can change this fact. But whether that person is my friend or whether that person will remain my friend tomorrow, all these things are subjective. So the main reason I stopped caring about humans and anything that is subjective is that I realized that I have to do something objective in my life. My book will remain even after I'm gone, but my friends will not remain after I'm gone. And see, no matter what people say to you, like I love you, I care about you, once you're gone, or suppose if you die untimely due to some circumstances, nobody will care. The one or two people who are genuine, maybe they will cry for 1 day or 2 day, for a short maximum 1 month. After that they will come back to normal. The other people will not even care for even for a second, no matter what they say in front of you, what they say with their mouths. Actually nobody cares, and actually nothing would change if you whether you are here or not. Nothing would change. You are no one. You are just a collection of atoms that is following the laws of physics. You are no one in this huge universe, or even in this huge world of humans. You are very insignificant. Even Elon Musk is someone like Elon Musk, of the stature of Elon Musk, is insignificant. And he is I don't want to like, of course, what is the some of the things that he's doing is are not like they are controversial, but you cannot deny that he has a lot of influence over the world, a lot of influence, political influence, monetary influence, and all. But even he is insignificant as compared to this. So who am I and who are you? I don't know. I don't know if someone of the stature of Elon Musk will be watching my YouTube channel. So don't take it as an offense. But it's, yeah, it's true if you think about this, right? So yeah, give me a second. Yeah, so that's what I was. That's more or less the main points, main things I wanted to discuss in this video. And yeah, one more thing is that through the last for the last few months, I have released a lot of YouTube videos about physics as well as about this kind of stuff. Like, I released a video called Self Exploration My 2024 in Review at the end of the year, or I don't remember exactly when, maybe in January, early January 2025. But yeah, in that video also I shared some of my important realizations because 2024 was really a transformative year for me. I traveled to a lot of places. I went on a first solo foreign trip to Nepal. I met with a lot of people, explored a lot of new cultures, went through a lot of personal emotional turbulence, and also did some fellowships. Visited some places with my parents, and I enjoyed life a lot in 2024. It was a I kind of lived a fast-paced existence in 2024, and I don't regret that. I want to live an even more fast-paced existence in the subsequent years. Maybe that's because I'm young now. Maybe after a certain age, I will not say the same thing. But yeah, right now I don't really care about. A lot of people say I need some time for myself. It's getting very hectic. It's getting. I need some time to rejuvenate. For me, it's like if you do some meaningful work, that itself is a rejuvenation. And it is for me. If I'm doing some meaningful work, be it writing a book on physics, be it writing a song, be it producing music, or be it working on a physics research fellowship, or whatever, be it mentoring students on physics, whatever it is, as long as it's a meaningful work, I think that itself is a reward. That itself rejuvenates me. I For the last few months, it's actually pretty hectic for me, and sometimes even I broke down physically. Like I have been like going like in exam time, I slept at say 5 a.m. or something. Even that kind of situation I had to face, and just after 2 hours of sleep, I had to go to college to give my exam, and a lot of this is not good actually for my health overall. I do know that, I do realize that, and even my food habits, my sleep schedule, everything was messed up and all. But and it was really hectic because I was swamped up with a lot of things, with a lot of responsibilities within college and beyond college, editing articles, mentoring students, my own academics, my own extracurriculars, my own projects I'm working on, even music production and all. and then even applying for MSCs in different universities. Now nobody asked me to produce music, for instance. I could easily cut that out. The academics part, of course, that's a kind of a compulsion, but yeah, I really didn't find it. Of course, at times I got a bit stressed out, I got a bit overwhelmed, but I never found like lost control. Like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. Let me just. I mean, I never broke down. That's the point. And I never had to like. So the point I'm saying all this is that some people say that I need some time for myself, I need to regimen. That's a good thing. Even I do need time for myself. I find it extremely draining to talk to people in general. I mean, in a professional setting, I don't find it draining. I have to talk to a lot of people from many countries as part of my roles in Young Scientist Journal, as well as my own journal, Journal of Young Physicists, the one I founded, as well as part of other roles and responsibilities. But that's in a professional setting. Otherwise, college or even some of my relatives in a personal setting, I find it very much draining interacting with people, and I need some time to recharge myself alone as well. But it's not like it's not like some people say that we are. Some people are against this fast-paced existence, and hustle and bustle. I think if your hustle and bustle is meaningful, if your grinding is meaningful, then I think it's a good thing if you live a very busy, very fast-paced life, because then uh, the most common objection to this is that then you don't have time for yourself, you don't have time to think, you don't have time to self-reflect. But I think, in my opinion, self-reflection is not always a good thing. Self-reflection, will only give you like maybe leave you depressed. Like it's better to just keep yourself busy with work and actually do something meaningful. It's not important that you always feel happy in life or always feel sad in life. If you do something meaningful, that's everything. That's in itself a reward. At the end of your life, when maybe you're on your deathbed and you're remembering your life, your entire life is flashing in front of your eyes like a movie, then what kind of movie would you like to watch? The hero is always contemplating about himself. Suppose I show you a movie. Like, in the movie, there is nothing in the movie, no action or no plot, no storyline. Just the hero who is contemplating about himself, doing a little bit of work, again contemplating. Is it really a good movie to watch? Of course not. On the other hand, if I show you a movie in which there is some deep thinking, some meaningful work, some success, some failures, some setbacks, some challenges, some action, some fast paced, like that kind of thing, that's in my opinion, that's a that's a movie worth watching. So yeah, for all of us, there will come a time when our entire life will flash in front of our eyes like a movie. So it's your job to make sure that you direct a movie, you write a movie, you create a movie that's worth watching. And to do that, you have to at times you have to say goodbye to your emotions, set aside your emotions, and you have to just work hard, give it a lot of effort, because see, talent is not enough. It's, in my experience, talent is not enough. I have seen a lot of people who are way more talented than me, but they couldn't make it in the end because they were not willing to put in the amount of effort I did. And even the opposite is true. I've watched people who are less talented than me, but they worked wonders just due to their sheer hard work, the amount of effort they are willing to put in, the dedication, their passion. And it all comes from this realization: we all have two lives, and the second one starts when we realize we have only one. And the sooner you realize this, you'll have this mindset: no, I have to do something meaningful in life. I don't care whether I am happy, I don't care if I'm feeling a bit stressed out, but I have to do this at any cost. This is very important. Of course, at times it's a physical body. After at times you will need rest and everything, but I'm not talking about that kind of rest. But yeah, I think you get the point. See, even now it's late night. I mean, I usually record most of my video videos late night for two reasons. One is there is no noise around. It's pretty quiet. The airplanes are flying by, so I don't. There might be some background noise at some points in the video. I don't know whether it will come in the final video. But yeah, otherwise there is not much noise in the night, and that's one good reason. And there is the chances of interruption of someone coming and interrupting me is also very, in my home, someone from my family is coming and interrupting me. That's also very less in the night. That's why I usually record YouTube videos in the night. So yeah, and today my college mid-semester examinations just got over, and yesterday night I actually slept very late. Was preparing for exams and all, of course. And today also, after coming home, I had to do a lot of work about editorial responsibilities and other and even then I didn't sleep today. I'm recording this video now, and it's pretty late now. It's almost nearly dawn. It's nearly morning. So the entire night of course I started recording the video late night. I mean, before previously I was doing some other stuff, but anyway. So yeah, I think I shared some important points with you in this video. My philosophy. That's what I wanted to share anyway. It's just, see, I'm not saying whatever I say it is, I told you my logic. Of course I may be wrong, or I might be missing something, or I may be biased in my judgment. All of us are kind of biased in one way or another. When it comes to their philosophy of life, we'll always try to justify ours. So of course, if I'm wrong, or if you think I'm wrong, if you have some another contrasting perspective, I would really like to hear about your perspective. You can please comment down below. And yeah, I'd also like to know what you think about my perspective. But yeah, personally, I think it's entirely possible to remain happy alone, because whenever you realize that happiness, sadness, and in fact emotions in general are objectively meaningless, and you have to just do something in your life, that in that point of time you will start to think logically, you will start to think like a computer. And that's not always a bad thing, because a lot of people say that we are slowly turning to computers, we should humanity is lost. Of course, if you're being emotionless does not mean, I mean, at least I do not, when I use the term emotionless, I do not mean you just become a zombie and go in the road and murder people. No, what I mean is that you will focus more on your work and less on what other people think. Because again, objective and subjective, you get the difference. I do not want to. I think at this point I should stop saying the same thing again and again and again. But uh, because if you think logically, you have to do something meaningful in life. Like maybe, but for me, it's writing books on physics, or popularizing physics among the underprivileged children, or making some original significant discovery in the field of physics. For someone else it could be something else. But yeah, if you want to make some objective contribution to some field of science or arts or business, whatever, you need to devote some time and effort to that. I think all of you will agree on this point. There is no doubt about this. But if you have to now if you set much store by emotions, if you have a lot of friends and all, then inevitably you will be able to devote less time to this. Because I see friends, or even human relations, not just friends, even human relations in general, as a liability more than a requirement or an asset. I see it as a liability, as a burden. I'm friend with that person, so I have to give some time to him or her, whether I like it or not. So that's a liability, that's a burden. I would rather give time to my physics research, for instance. And yeah, some of you will say that that's all very well, Arpan, but this is really, after a certain point of time, we all want company. Because after all, as you yourself said in the video, like I myself said this in the video, that after all we are social creatures, and at some point of time we are programmed to want company, and to, so at some point of time we will feel lonely and we'll feel depressed if we just shut ourselves out from friends and all, and just keep doing our work like a robot. That's what some of you will say, and on that regard, I would say I would admit that's a very valid point for people in general. But in my case, again, even this is not a very valid point, because like I said, I don't care at this point. I don't care at this point, because I have tried, like I said, my story, I have tried at one point of time, but I never really didn't I was always sorted out. Nobody really accepted me. And after a point I realized that okay, I should maybe stop trying to fit in and be proud that I'm standing out. So yeah, for me, I have kind of accepted this way of life. And I'm not sure if maybe after 10 years or after 5 years I may get depressed, I may get lonely, I may feel lonely. I don't now, maybe I'm alone now, but I really don't feel lonely. I'm very happy, very at peace with myself. But I'm not sure if this will be like this for the rest of my life. But I am sure of one thing, and that is that since I have grown this amount of I have learned this amount of this self control. Even if I get lonely or depressed sometime in the future, I will be able to deal with it somehow or the other. That I know, and that's the important part. See. Yeah, and the last point I would like one last thing I would like to discuss before I finish off with this video is that, yeah, one more thing is that a lot of people say that there is a very common saying that prevention is better than cure. And in my previous video, one or two of my previous videos, I discussed this point, that in my opinion prevention is not always better than cure. Because if you try to prevent problems from the initial level, then you are only playing with your ability to deal with unexpected problems. On the other hand, if you face problems head on and then cure yourself from the broken state, then actually you learn to solve problems better in general. So in that sense, prevention is not always better than cure when it comes to emotions or psychology or everything. Physically, if it's a matter of physical health, of course prevention is better than cure. You don't just want to just intentionally get cancer and then cure it, of course not. But yeah, otherwise it's not always true. Similarly, another common saying is that you should learn to accept. So you should learn to accept some things in life. Here also I would say that this is not always a very good philosophy if you want to progress in life. Suppose if you accept that, okay, I'm not meant for that level of success, so I just accept that, okay, he can be successful but I cannot. I mean, if acceptance to you means this kind of acceptance, like just be happy with whatever you have, that's not always true. That means you care more about your mental stability, more about your emotional stability and happiness than success. If that is what you care more about, then okay, you stay emotionally stable, you stay happy, but you will live an ordinary life. If you want to do something extraordinary, if you want to be successful in life, then you have to like say goodbye to emotional stability. You cannot even think about what will happen if I do this. Maybe it will affect you emotionally, maybe you will not have time for yourself, maybe you have to put in a lot of effort and hard work, but you have to be ready for that, right? So yeah, in my case, it's because people will. It's very one thing I realized. That's what I want to share in the end. People will not listen to you if you have not like in the initial I told that I don't judge whether I am successful in life by the society, by the standards the society has imposed on me. Whether I am successful or not, I am the sole I will determine that. That's what I believe. But the reality is still that society will not listen to me if if I'm not successful by their standards. A simple example: in my college, in the first year of my college, I scored very poorly. My CGPA, I mean my percentage, I scored poorly in the exams. My score was pretty less in the first semester, and I mean in the second semester mainly. And then I used to rant a lot, not rant, but yeah, I used to tell people that I'm not really satisfied with the education system, the way physics is taught. It's just memorize stuff and practice problems and write in the exam, but nobody's really given the independence and time to think about physics in their own way. But yeah, all that is true. I agree with that even now. But nobody listened to me because, of course, I don't have a good score. In the second year and the ongoing third year, I improved a lot. I mean, a lot by my standards, actually improved quite a lot, and I came near the top. But to do this, to actually do this, it's like it was not an easy journey. Okay, it's like I had to do what I don't like. That is memorize stuff. I really don't like to do physics that way, but I had to do it because I realized that people will only listen to you if you are successful by the standards of society. Now people listen to me because they are forced to. Because on one hand, since I'm involved in a lot of college journals and all, I have some experience in science writing, editing, and all. They have to consult with me, listen to me. But that's more of a that's more of a requirement. That's not because they think I'm a true friend or anything. And the other one is that now at least I have shown that even I can score better in exams if I really want to. No, but I don't really want to do that. I want to focus more on extracurricular physics and research. I mean physics beyond the curriculum and research. So yeah, I had to maybe sacrifice 1.5 or 2 years of my life to prove this point, but I think it was worth it because if I initially told myself that if I initially accept, that's why I say never accept, never settle for less. If I settled for less CGPA or less score, if I accepted that no, it's not for me, I will never be able to score as good marks as them, as those toppers. If that kind of mentality set in once, then I would never have been able to score this kind of CGPA or this kind of score. I would never have been able to improve this much. So yeah, never accept. So yeah, if you follow my philosophy, your life will never be happy, will not be full of friends, not be very happy, or not be very emotionally satisfying maybe, but it will be objectively very much meaningful, very much and hopefully very much successful, and very much, and in that sense very much satisfying, I think. So that's my philosophy of life, and that's what I wanted to share in this video. And yeah, finally, before we say goodbye for this video, please if you already have not already done so, please listen to my song Forever Alone, link in the description. I think you're gonna like the song, okay? And I'd like to hear your opinions on the song or on whatever I discussed in this video in the comments below. So till then, goodbye and thanks for watching.